This is Carl at National RV Detroit. I'm going to walk you around this 2022 Flagstaff high wall, model number HW29SC. So this is a supplemental video. To raise it and lower it and to set it up and tear it down, you can use the manufacturer's video for that. Plus we're going to show you how that happens here when you pick up. But this is just a supplemental video to go over some of the features in a little more detail, okay? Okay, so right here, this is the fresh water fill here. This fills the fresh water tank. On the other side of the trailer, you'll have a city water hookup, which is the most common way to get water into the trailer. But when you're camping somewhere where there's no plumbing, you can pre-fill this tank and then use the onboard pump to pump the water. So everything will work just like you have city water, except you'll be pumping it from your tank. Okay? Now right here on this rail, your griddle and this table hang there. You can see here we have the rack that it hangs on. That's the griddle itself. And then of course, that's a utility table. Let me just peek in here to see where there's also a rubber hose that comes with it to connect it to the LP system. Actually there's not. This one has a retracting hose here, so you just pull this out and then you'll plug this into the back of the griddle. This is a quick connect fitting. It's real simple. This is off. That is on. So you just snap it on and turn the gas on and it'll work fine. Okay. All right. So this is just a radio antenna. Your stairs are adjustable. To adjust the legs, you pull out on these pins here, and you can adjust the legs up and down for the terrain that you're on. Now the travel door normally hangs right here, and you shut it. Well, we pulled it off, and there's a place you stow it right here. You can see underneath the rear bunk, they've got a hinge there, so you just put it on the hinge, and then you put that piece of Velcro around the latch, and that's where you store it when you're camping. Of course, when you pack up and ready to go, you put it back on, of course. So in here, these here are a safety device. People will give you all kinds of they'll have several versions of what they're actually for. But the main thing is you have this support here, one of these on each corner, and then of course you have the cable and the winch. So or is it a winch? Anyway, so you'll just take these and snap these on real simply, just like that, and that basically keeps, you're in the woods, trees fall in the woods, so if a piece of a tree was to fall and hit the top of your pop-up, this just gives it added strength. There's only two of these. One goes in each corner, kitty corner from each other, so you can, as long as they're kitty corner, you can put them either way, okay? Alright, sorry about my camera work here. I'm doing this all myself and not really. Okay, so you get another folding table here. Here's a wheel for the tongue jack. You have this crank right here, right? Plus you have a 3/4 inch crank for your stabilizer jacks, one on each corner. But this one right here goes to your power tongue jack. If the power tongue jack was to fail for some reason, you can pull this cap right off here, put that crank on here, and you can crank it manually, so you can always get hitched and unhitched. But like I said, this is a power tongue jack up and down, plus it has a hitch light, and then you got the executioner's hood here that goes over it, just so it looks cool. Okay. With one hand. Okay. So it's good when you stow this. When you take these bars out here, the ones with the white tips, like here, go in the front. The ones with the black tips go for the rear. When you take them off, it's good to keep them in the same place, so you always know where it's happening. So when this bunk is in, you can put them right underneath that bunk, and along with the back ones. That way you always know where they're at. That's how the manufacturer ships them to us. Okay, hopefully that made sense to you. So you've got two deep cycle marine batteries. They're wired together at 12 volts, so it just doubles the storage capacity, but it stays 12 volts. So you just have a lot of storage. You have your 2 LP tanks under here with an automatic changeover regulator. This is the power winch here, and up and down. Now always make sure, who's ever operating that, they look at all 4 corners and unhook these latches here. Because if you don't, you're going to have problems. If you got little kids around, when it's closed, for example, if you got it in your garage or in your yard, you always got to be aware of that, because if with these latches latched, if they were to pull up on that switch to raise it, it'll actually bend some parts in there. So you always be aware that it's something that kids should be warned away from. Of course, then again, it is a switch, or and they're, you know, kids being kids. But all right, so. Let's see, I got that, okay. So, this here is your gauge here. It tells you how high to put the roof. This isn't so the roof doesn't tear or anything like that. It's set so it's at the right height for the roof to be, so the screen door fits in properly, okay? Now, if this ever pulls out, which it will sometime, you know, you can just take that and, here, let me get a better view here. You can just take this and screw this in right next to the hole, or use a bigger, a wider screw. Just reattach it, okay? All right, so your water heater runs on gas. The switch is inside. I'll show you that when I get in there. Always make sure there's gas in, or there's water in the water heater tank before you turn it on. And this is the drain right here. It's also an anode rod, so it's long, but it's an 1 1/16 6-point socket you need to drain the water tank. You'll need an extension and then a bar or a ratchet to break it with. So, you know, when you're not going to be camping for months, you're probably going to want to drain the water out so it doesn't get all foul. Now, of course, when you winterize in the late fall, you're going to drain this out anyway. You also have to bypass the water heater, so make sure you, if you don't know about that sort of thing, you read up on it, okay? About winterizing. So you got a 30-foot, 30-amp cord with a reducer. This cord right here you should plug in before you raise the roof. And that powers the air conditioner. Alright, so you've got a shower here, a sprayer for kids and dogs and feet and bicycles, whatever you have to hose down. This is the city water connection here. So remember I showed you where you could fill the fresh water tank on the other side? If you have city water, you don't have to worry about the other side, or the tank or the pump. You just put the hose right in here, turn it on, and you're all set, ready to go. This is a vent. It gets kind of hot, so be careful. You got some storage here. That's a vent there, and there's also a vent stack up there. I believe there's a vent stack. I can't, on this model I can't say for sure. I should have. Yeah, there is. There's the hose for it. So that's a vent, and that's a vent up there. You can drain. Oh, let's get down here. Okay. So you get a dump hose with this, and that dump hose works for your black tank right here. So you actually dump that at a dump station. Now the gray tank right here, you have a piece that screws on there, and it's got a barbed end, so you can run a hose to a bucket or down a sewer or wherever you want to do for the gray tank. But the black tank, you always keep this shut till it's full and you're ready to dump it. Then you dump it and let it fill again. You never leave this open if you're hooked up to a dump hose and some will have that plumbing on the campsite, because you can't just let the waste run out. What'll happen? All the fluids will run out, and the solids will stay there, and they get all clogged up, and it's a real mess. Before you use your toilet, you always have to put a dose of chemical in here and about a gallon of water. I'll show you that when we get inside, but you'll just dump it down through the toilet. So you always have to have chemical and water in your black tank before you use it. This is to store your dump hose here. Okay. Alrighty. So we'll move around to go inside now. Okay. So this is a jackknife. Let me close this. This is a jackknife sofa here, and it collapses flat, so somebody can sleep there. This also turns into a bed here, so people can sleep there. And you also put this down when you're breaking the camper down, because it sticks up too high. So you remove the poles and drop the top here onto these cleats, and then use the cushion to fill in the space. Okay, so let's get over here now. This is the switch for your water heater right here. It's got a fault light. It's very simple. Always make sure there's water in there before you use it in the tank. This is a carbon monoxide LP gas detector. It will alert you if there's a carbon monoxide buildup or LP gas leak. Also, it'll use the same tone but beep very slowly if your battery is low. So I'll let you hear it. LP is good. This is a self-test. Carbon monoxide coming up, and then of course low battery alert. So it goes back to green. It should always be green. If it's not green, get it serviced. That's very important. This is a GFCI here. All the plugs in the trailer, including the one on the outside, are wired through a GFCI. So you'd reset it right here. Okay. This is your power converter here. This converts AC to DC power. So when you're plugged in, these are your circuit breakers, just like you'd have at home, 120 AC. And so this is like the distribution center right here you'd have in your house. That's 110, 120 AC. Now, it's converted over on this side to 12 volt DC, right? So you got 12 volt fuses here, and they're all labeled, right? Just like these are labeled. So all the fuses are labeled. Also, this is a battery tender. So when you're plugged in, it's always going to be sensing how much energy your batteries have and how much it needs. So if they're topped off, they'll just trickle a couple amps up there to maintain. If it's low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever you need to charge your batteries. Okay. This is your furnace right here. The thermostat is right here. So this has to, when you shut here, that's on. You might have heard it kick on there, but when you shut it off, you go like this. It has to click like that. So since I shut it off, it's still running. It'll run through a cycle, but the flame went out, right? So even when you shut it off, you're still going to hear it running for a couple minutes till it shuts down. It lights automatically. It'll make 3 attempts to light. It always lights within those 3 attempts, usually the first. So keep that in mind. This is your range here. I don't know if he's got the gas turned on here, so let's see. But basically, this is the sparker here on the left. You turn it clockwise to spark. You got three knobs here and 3 burners, and then this last one is for the oven. So let me see. I don't know if he's got the gas hooked up. Yeah, he does. So right there, you see, I just sparked it, and it lit right there. Also, always travel with this shut, or it will break. People break them when they're shut. They'll never break, but if you leave them open, eventually they will. Okay, so the oven here, it's a little different. Let me see what we got here. So you can see at the bottom, all the way to the back, there's a pilot light. I can show you the sparker. You can see it sparking back there. So what you do is you go to this knob for the oven, you turn it to the picture of the flame, which means pilot light. Then you depress it and keep it depressed. You spark it with the other hand till the pilot light down here lights. After it lights, you still hold this in for another 10 seconds or so to heat up the thermocouple, and then you go to operating temperature. Now, keep in mind that when you turn it off, the flame goes off, but so does the pilot light, so you have to relight the pilot light each time you use it. You also have lights here, inside and outside. Just more storage. Just looking to see what they've got in here so I know. This is your packet. This has all of your paperwork in there. Each appliance, all these different components have literature. Also keep in mind that if you're interested in something and you want to learn more, you can always go to the manufacturer's website, type in the model number, and they'll almost always have manufacturer's videos. This is the remote for your radio. This goes in your smoke detector. Put that in before you leave. Okay. These are poles for the awning right here. We'll go through that with you when you pick up, whoever shows you the trailer. Okay, so when we're up here, this is a shower curtain, of course. These are hanging wardrobe and pantry. This is a wardrobe, the one that's smaller. That will hook up right here on those 4 hooks. The other one is a pantry, a hanging pantry, and that will go right here above the sink. Okay, that's the curtain right there. The rod for the curtain and the clips. Okay, so the refrigerator is a 3-way refrigerator. That means it'll run on 3 energy sources. It'll run on 110 AC, 12 volt DC, or LP gas. So that's on, of course. There it goes. Now, auto is what this one says. Auto. That's the one you're going to use almost always. Basically auto always seeks out AC power first. If it can't find it, it'll automatically switch over to gas for you. Or let's say you've gone out exploring for the day. It's a hot day, and soon after you leave the campsite, the power goes out. Well, it'll sense that, and it'll automatically light it on gas for you. That way you won't spoil your food. You can select. That's just gas. This one here is, let me see if I get this right. This one here is, that's just DC power, so that's running off your battery, right? The most common way to run it is on AC power, which is right here, auto. So keep that in mind, okay? This is how you open it. You just push up on this while you're pulling the door. I'm doing it in the wrong position. I can't. Hey, let me change hands so I can show you. There we go. So you have a freezer there, small freezer, and a refrigerator. Okay? So, this is obviously a toilet, and this is a hand sprayer for a shower right here. Water's coming out because we just set it, we de-winterized it from winterized mode where it has antifreeze in it and all that. And when we flushed it out, it's nothing but water in there now. Okay, so you flush the toilet right here. You can see me grabbing here. It opens the trap. Directly below there is the black tank. Like I said, you can't use the black tank empty. So what you do is after you get to the campground, you hook up your power and your water. You'll come over here. You'll put a dose of chemical in the bowl. Then you'll pull forward on here. Water will come swirling out of here because we're hooked up to water. And you put about a gallon or so of water in the tank. Some people use more, some people use less. You just have to decide what's good for you. If you don't do that, the smell will be terrible, beyond terrible, and it also can get clogged up. So always make sure that you put the chemical and the water in it before you start using it. You don't have to do it every time you use it. You just do it when the black tank's empty. It's got to have water and chemical in there. Okay? All right. These just clip up here. There's some clips for it. That's so you can store things, kids' toys, bedding, pillows, things like that. Now, this is the roofing vent. It has a latch on it right here, and that's where you crank it up and down right there. So keep in mind, you'll open the latch and crank it up. You can set the speed on it. It's 3 speeds. It does a really good job of pulling the heat out on those days where you don't need air conditioning. You just open all the windows and turn that on, and it'll do a good job. Make sure when you bring it back down, you latch it so it doesn't creep open when you're going down the road and water dribble in there. So keep that in mind, and make sure to remember before you put the trailer down, you close that, because otherwise you're going to have to open it back up after you see it sticking up there. So, okay, and I'm going to open this so I don't forget to put the battery in there. That's just a towel rack there. You could, if you choose to, you can remove this neck. Before you close it up, you just unscrew it right here and pull it right out and put it in the sink. Okay. Please excuse my camera work. I gotta say that again. I know I'm not very good at it. So this is closed. So some more stuff. This is a bunk light, fan light combo. These are heaters, or warmers, you should say, for the mattresses. So you can see it's got this end here. This plugs into the mattress, and then this regular plug plugs into the nearest AC plug. So, let me see which one this is here. Normally it's on the left, but sometimes let me go to the other end to show you where I can actually reach it without that couch being in the way. Okay. So you can see right here, that's where it plugs into the mattress. The other end will go to this AC power here. And it's just a mat. It's not a heater, it's a warmer. It'll take the chill out of your mattresses. You got a little analog thermostat on it. Also, while I'm standing here, when you get ready to use your trailer, when you get home and they're getting it all ready for you, take these off. Take the plastic off the mattresses, because if you don't, eventually water will get inside there, and then it'll create a climate where it can get mold or mildew, whatever. So this is just for shipping until you're ready to use it. Just tear it off on both of them, okay? All right. Also in here there's a water filter canister if you choose to use it. Most people don't use it anymore because they don't drink the water, but you could put that in there, and this is the wrench for it. If you ever do use this, it'll only last for a season. So before you winterize in the late fall, you throw it out, and then after you de-winterize in the summer, you put one in and it would last the summer if you choose to use it. Like I said, most people don't use it just because they don't drink the water anymore. If you got some really let's say you camp at the St. Plaza, you got some really heavy mineral filled water, you know, some people would like to use that. It's a carbon black filter, so it works pretty good for that sort of thing, okay? Also, this is let me show you right here. Your water pump turns on here, right? You can check your battery here. Whoops. Right there, see it's charged. Fresh water. It's got water in it, but we're just left that on so we can show you how it works. Your gray tank is empty. Black tank is empty. It graduates up in 1/3 increments. So once you get past 2/3, you're going to have to start thinking about dumping your black and gray tank. So that's that. And last but not least, I'm running out of time here. I only get a half hour before it starts a new file here, but we'll do this real quick. On the roof, it has something called a Wi-Fi Ranger. The Wi-Fi Ranger is a public Wi-Fi booster. So when you and your family take out their phones and tablets, whatever you have, and you'll look at your Wi-Fi section, and this top line it says Ranger Sky 4 4846. That's you. So you'll make up a password, so your devices will log onto that automatically when it's searching for Wi-Fi. Right? Then at the bottom here it says Control Panel. There's an address here. You type this address into a browser, and it'll take you to the page for the Wi-Fi Ranger. You'll use the temporary password of Change Me Now 4846. Of course, you'll make up your own password, but you use that to get onto it, and then you can see everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees. So you pick out the campground Wi-Fi. If they give you a passcode, you type that in. So all your devices hook to the Wi-Fi Ranger automatically, and then when you get to where you're going, you'll just have to hook this up to your public Wi-Fi. It's a really, really good signal booster. So it does a good job. Now there's a pay feature that I'm not going to get into. It has to do with cellular service. So if you were interested in that, you'd have to pay a monthly fee to, I suppose, to whoever your carrier is. But that's something you could look into if you need to. But most people just use the free public Wi-Fi part. Okay. When it comes to your sound, this works like any other. You got 2 zones, 1 and 2. 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer. It's got Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly with your devices. You have a USB here, so you can stream off a USB. You can take all your albums on one USB stick and take them with you. AM, FM radio, I said it's got Bluetooth. And this plug, if you pull it out, it's a HDMI, and it's an in. So if you need to go into the system, let's say you brought a portable TV and a portable Blu-ray player, just for example, you could plug it right into there, the Blu-ray player into there, if you wanted to. So keep that in mind. You got your lights here. You got plenty of charging stations or charging ports, whatever you want to call them. Okay, I think that's it then. The door is up now. All right, whoever shows you this will show you how it goes into place. Okay, all right. So I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer at National RV Detroit. Please remember to inspect all the seals on your trailer, the ones on the roof, especially the corner caps, for example, or around the roof vent. Just look for cracking or separation. Some year, sometime, you're going to have to put some sealant on it. That's all trailers are like that. So you inspect it regularly, you know, every 90 days or so. Just give it a quick look over. And this, to use this one, it's something called Clear Proflex. That's what you would use. You never use caulk from the hardware store. It's not good enough. If you go to any RV place, they'll have Clear Proflex, and just tell them what it's for, okay? So keep that in mind about inspecting all your seals. And right now, this is summarized. There's no antifreeze in the system. It's ready to go, so you're all set. Okay, thank you.